Welcome to PM Express Business Edition. Ghana over the years has introduced several reforms to simplify the business registration process. But is it the case in terms of simplifying for you as a business out there and doing that registration within a day? What about this whole reminder to professional bodies out there to regularize their status with the Registrar of Companies? And what about the concern with filing of annual returns? Well, out with me here, the Registrar of Companies, Madam Jemima Oware, to get more understanding and appreciating the process when it comes to registration of business in Ghana today. This program is brought to you by Cherry Tree Properties, a real estate firm, and they are the new partners on board with PM Express Business Edition. Thank you, Madam, for your time, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, it's been a while indeed, George, but I'm doing good. But very, very stressed.
I see. Interesting.
Being a new organization, there's so much to be done to ensure that it's, stabilizes in the country. So currently we are very, very, very busy.
Help me with this. I remember, was it last year or earlier this year, just to help me, that we had an announcement that there's going to be a separation of, Registrar of Companies and then the Registrar General Department.
Yes.
So help me with respect to this separation. It wasn't a marriage, it was a separation. As we speak right now, so we have the Registrar of Companies and then the Registrar General Department. Has the separation finally taken off, or what is happening right now?
Okay. In the wisdom of the Committee of Experts who were repealing the Companies Act, which had been in operation since 1963, Act 179. The Professor Gawa, who helped to put together that regulations or that Companies Act, thought that there'll be a need to have a separate office that oversees business registration in Ghana. But as far back as 1973, there weren't that many businesses that were in operation. And that is how come, there was a Registrar General that oversaw, apart from companies, administration of estates, marriages, industrial property rights, adoption. So quite a huge portfolio. And so they thought that businesses were suffering as a result of that. And when there was a need to repeal that act, then with the new Companies Act, they set out this new office. So the new office is known as the Office of the Registrar of Companies. And they made it very clear that you cannot have the Registrar General being the Registrar of Companies. And so that is how come I ceased becoming the Registrar General. And by the grace of God, I was appointed as the first Registrar of Companies for this new office. And so for our mandates, it's purely the registration and regulation of businesses. And by businesses, I'm talking of companies, partnerships, business names, professional bodies. That's where professional bodies comes in.
Yeah.
And not only that, we also appoint inspectors and receivers. We are also setting up a new insolvency services division. There's the passage of the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act to handle insolvency. No more pure liquidation. That was under the Bodies Corporate Official Liquidations Act. So now with this insolvency services division, we are now regulating insolvency practitioners in addition to the official liquidator, who also carry out insolvency operations. And not only that, we also carry out public education and sensitization. So this interview you are currently conducting is one of them. We'll use this opportunity to inform our numerous clients about the new processes. So the new office is in place. The president, was the Attorney General that put in place the board, sawing the board in April of 2022.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think you attended the launch. We did a launch in July of 2022. So the office is in place, but we do not have an office to move into yet.
Okay.
That's why we are still
patching.
Okay. In the Registrar General Department's premises. But we have land and we have a design, and we are going to push hard to get the office up within the next 2 years. Once that happens, we'll move from here to the new office, and it's in Legon. It's in Legon.
So you are now focusing primarily on registration of businesses, professional bodies, and all the rest. What about
The
marriages
register
and
general.
all
Okay,
the rest?
yes.
Help me that clarity. So
Yes.
now it doesn't fall under your mandate again.
Yes.
It falls under the Registrar General's mandate when it
Yes.
comes to registering marriage and what.
Yes, yes. So the president has appointed a new registrar general
Okay.
in the person of Mrs. Gracie Sahak.
Okay.
So she is now overseeing marriages, industrial property rights, and administration of estates. So that the registrar general is not dead; it's still in existence.
Yeah.
They are still carrying on registering adoption, children that are adopted in the courts. We still register it. We still carry on special licenses, marrying, and doing all those things that we used to do under the. I used to do as a registrar general. So now my focus is just on businesses, as I brought out
You
to you.
you highlighted on some very critical thing, and I know that recently you've been in the media space and helped me in terms of education and even for those out there. Registration or engaging professional bodies. I thought that if I'm an accountant or if maybe I'm a banker or I come on the Bank of Ghana, where did you stretch your mandate? Or, I mean, help me out with some education about this bit to engage professional bodies and whether it falls within your space as well.
Well, it was a requirement under the Registrar General to also keep a register of professional bodies.
Okay.
It's not anything new. We came to meet this as far back as 1963 when we started registering various bodies, and the professional bodies was one of them. And so it just clearly shows you that there wasn't much light on that particular area. We have currently about 85 professional bodies on our register, and yet only 10 have renewed. That just shows you that not much light was put on that. And the law is very clear. It's NRCD 147. We are supposed to register professional bodies in Ghana. You must have about 50 members, and they should all be professionals. That means you must be giving them certificates before you even come and register them with us. Now, once you bring them and register them, you're supposed to be coming with the list of the academic qualification of your professionals.
That is the executive. So for instance, if I'm a member of the ACCA and
Yes.
I'm a member in good standing,
Yes.
am I supposed to submit my?
Yes, the law says that we are supposed to give you a certificate of membership after your body comes to us with their various certificates and the list of all professionals. And not only that, the law is very clear that if we do not register you and renew your membership of that professional body, it lapses. Your whole professional body plus you professionals on my register, it lapses. And this is something that we hadn't really, put much emphasis on. It's not the Register of Companies stretching the mandate. The law,
it's within your law.
It's within the law. The law states that it lapses, and you're supposed to do this before the end of January of every particular year. So all these professional bodies that are on the register, when we had the meeting, it turned out that some hadn't even registered with us as professional bodies and were using the name. Some had changed their names and had not updated us. Some had dead professionals on our register and had not informed us about it. So every year, the duty of the professional body, the executives, is to bring a list of professionals in good standing. That's the key thing. It should be professionals in good standing. So the mandate to oversee the activities of your professional, the code of ethics and all that, that lies with your professional body, not us. But to give you, what I even say it? Authenticity and legality as a professional, you need to come to us. And that is where we are saying that you need to pay 30 Ghana cedis for each professional. So as you're coming to us with your constitution and your charter and your code of ethics and the list of your professionals with their academic qualifications, I don't really need your certificates, but you should list it for us. We'll enter it into our register. Every year, before the end of January, come back and update us, whether the name is still the same, whether you moved offices, whether the professionals have left, and they could have left. If you don't do that, and we don't update the professionals in our register, the law is very clear. It lapses. Lapses means you are not recognized as a professional.
And what are the consequences? I mean, if I'm a member of the Ghana Association of Banks, a member, and I fail to do that, what happens to me? I still have my qualification. I can still go out and hold a position outside, or what? What is going to happen to me?
Yeah, but you will not be recognized.
By who?
Anybody who comes to do a search on you in our register, your name will not be there as a professional. So tell your executives, if you haven't done that, make sure that your name is in my register.
Someone would say that interesting, because
isn't that
too cumbersome for me as a member of an associate professional body to be doing all these things and coming to...
You will not do it. It's your executives that will do it. Do they charge you
membership fee? Yes, they do.
So in the membership fee, they should cater for that, and then update the register on a yearly basis, like every other thing that I've been talking about. If you do not update it, you have inaccurate data, and it is not verifiable. It's not accessible. Anybody can't come to do any business in this country, wants to find out the professionals of a particular body, should be able to come to this register and find your name there as being one in good standing, and also being the professional that you are, belonging to that professional body. Because the law is very clear, it lapses, and so you will not even be recognized as such. They came out, some of your professional bodies came out, they were chartered now. They have an act that charters them, no problem. If you take your name out of it, one day somebody will come and do a search, and your name will not be there.
You want to be a board member of an international organization?
Yes, the people come out and carry out searches of who are the professionals in this, professional body. I didn't put it in the law, George. It's in the law. So I'm just implementing the law, something that we had not done over all these years. So I'm just making sure that I go by the law.
Let's come to business registration.
Yes.
And it's been, some would say, the biggest thing in the room. Can I register my business in a day as we speak right now?
Of course you can.
Get everything done for me within 24 hours, get it issued that maybe Sarah Mensah and Co. or Brothers be done in a day. Is that possible?
It's possible with the current system that we have, if only you also comply with our requirements. Because some will come and haven't even filled the forms. Some will come and they don't have a digital address. Some will come, they don't have an NIA card. So the key thing is, let's start counting from the time you complete all the requirements. And then we can say confidently that within a day, we can give you the business registration certificate. The issue in reality, though, is that the current software has challenges, and nobody denies that fact. And so you could come in and do everything within the day, but you won't get it within the day because possibly the system has shut down for one reason or the other, or one of the users of the system, maybe the lawyer or the company inspector, does not approve it within the time they're supposed to approve it, because there are so many other things that are being done. And that is why we are now going to move a step further and come up with a new software. We are trusting God before the end of this year, but looking at June is a bit short to the end of the year. Early of next year, 2024, we are coming up with a new software which would enable you to do everything online. You would not need to walk into our offices with paper, as currently people are walking in and queuing at the bank to pay and scan and all those things. It would be a thing of the past. We currently have a software in place that can do that online registration. But what happens is people don't find it being user-friendly. And also, people don't like to do it online. They want to come and look in somebody's face and give money to somebody. I don't know.
But some would say that if you've made it very difficult to walk into the offices to see the face of your officials, then people will be forced to migrate online to do it.
That is what I said.
It is still easy to still walk in and do the business.
I agree with you. Next year, it won't be like that. You pay about quadruple more what you should pay to register a business name if you just sit at home and do it online. We will not encourage you coming in through the, the heat and all the sweat just to come and submit a paper. that will cost just 100 Ghana cedis to register. No, the fee for registering online will be cheaper than the fee you pay for going through the traffic just to come and submit your documents. And there's not going to be paper submission anymore. We'll key everything online. What we'll do actually is we'll have sort of a customer care service center where we'll equip it with machines, because I know for a fact that not all Ghanaians have access to internet and Wi-Fi. It's a reality I have to face. Okay. So if even you walk through the sun and you come to us for that service, we'll help you to do it online yourself. So the data entry clerks who would have been keying it in for it will not do that anymore. They will help you to key it in yourself. Once you get a hang of it, you should not come back and come and register a business with us. You should do it at home yourself. So the whole idea is we'll train you to use the system yourself. And with that, I believe, and we'll put a business intelligence in the system, more of AI, where the business rules that we currently use, quite a bit of it will be put into the system. So the unique names that pass the test, the business rule, will get your certificates and your profiles wherever you are sitting straight away, instantly. So that it's possible if you're at home to get a business registered within an hour. As long as you comply with our requirements, as long as the name goes through the whole maze of business name rules and it is unique, then you should get it. Because what is happening now is you could have had that possibly within a day. But because, as I told you, of the system going down and all that. So for the question you asked, yes, it's possible. The system can deliver it to you, but we have challenges. First, with the systems going down, and then the human elements, the users. Sometimes we are not, for instance, I'm having an interview with you right now. There's stuff in my tray, I haven't approved it. And so that will mean that I won't get it within a day. That's what I mean.
Interesting. I'll be coming about to you to get some understanding about whether then we could confidently say that by early next year, we are fully moving to paperless and that real 24-hour service delivery will happen. And also the bit about the human element as well, and the Goro boys, the corruption and all the rest, and what you're doing to deal with this. This is PM Express Business Edition, as we engage the registrar of companies to get some understanding on business registration in Ghana today. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition. We are talking about registering your business in Ghana today. Has it been smooth for you or has it been a hell for you? And what is the office that is mandated to simplify the process doing for you out there? It's PM Express Business Edition, and Madam Jemima Oware is the registrar of companies. Thank you, Madam. And it's still, I'm still battling with this, because just to take you back a little bit about these professional bodies, because some will say that I belong to a body. Aren't you now trying to regulate me as a member of that association with respect to these laws thing?
The key thing here is, George, you must first of all be part of or a member of a professional body before I can have these laws, covering you. It's not you as a professional by yourself. So if you are a member of the professional body, that is where these laws will apply to you. That you would need to have, at least have this payment of 30 Ghana cedis done for you every year to ensure that your name does not lapse in our register. So it's not you working, on your own as a professional. That is going to be governed by this particular NRCD 143. Yeah.
Does it mean that you were explaining to me earlier on about this system that should be in place and all the rest? So does it mean that, can someone argue or someone say that really the 24-hour service delivery on time and getting all these things done will be realized by the first quarter of next year? And as we speak right now, it's still not timely being delivered within a day.
Yes. In reality, first quarter of next year, I think we should be able to deliver that in the normal time. The Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Act has also given the Office of the Registrar of Companies an opportunity to render a VVIP service to our clients. So we are intending to start giving a VVIP service before the next quarter getting to the end of the year. We haven't commenced it yet because of the instability of the software. There's no point charging all these huge fees for this VVIP service, and you should not be able to, you are not being able to deliver the service within the time. But really, if we start implementing that, I can assure you that within 24 hours to 48 hours, you will get whatever documents that you have put before us and paid a bit more for. There is going to be a VVIP service rendered. It will be where we used to have the re-registration unit. In that unit, we're going to have all the players in one place. So it's not an issue of, you know, sitting behind your desk and not approving something. You're going to have the data entry clerk there. You're going to have the company inspector there. You're going to have the lawyers there. You're going to have the bank there. So that once it's validated, everything is okay, the lawyer approves it, it's printed, it's paid for, it's printed, you get your documents, you leave. So we can achieve that. The system, as I said, by itself, you can register a business within 30 minutes. If only everything is properly completed, you've paid for it, the actors, that is the users, are working on it, and they approve it, you can get it.
What would you tell those who might argue that, yes, that service is cutting across even DVLA and others? The concern here is, for some would say that, Madam, maybe can we fix the system and it works for everybody then, rather than this whole product differentiation, we had DVLA and all the rest. There are some who would argue that let's fix the system and let it work. I mean, so that everybody walks in, everybody is VIP.
Yes, I agree with you. That's also going to be possible once the system is migrated onto the G Cloud. As I said, is going to happen. This current software, because of the downtimes, the World Bank is funding the migration of the current e-registrar software onto the environment being hosted by NITA. Definitely, that's going to be a better service than we are currently offering. This downtimes of the servers coming down will be a thing of the past. Now, with that, I believe that, I mean, the client could still get that 24-hour service in the normal way of doing things, if only the various actors also attend to it on time. But that's what I'm saying. At that place, everybody who's supposed to have anything to do with it will be at the same place. At the front of it right now, you have a long queue. You have data entry clerks there. You have company inspectors. And in life, sometimes you need that service to get things done expeditiously. If only you can afford it and you want that, you'll get it within the 24 hours and 48 hours. It doesn't mean that at the front office too, you might not get that. Because as of now, if somebody tenders in their application, they pay for it, and all the actors are sitting around, and you'll get it within 24 hours. I approved some applications that was keyed in yesterday. I approved it, it's gone. So whoever came to the front office and paid 100 Ghana cedis will get their documents.
And will get their certificate being issued to them the same day.
Once I approve it, the system, the printer will print the certificates, the batching unit will put together the profiles and take it down for collection. So that person will be surprised that, hey, I got it within 24 hours, but it's possible. But at the same time, you should be able to offer a VVIP service that there are some clients who just don't have the time to sit at the front office, weigh the whole process of, you know, waiting in a queue. You can't help the queue. It's a you just can't help.
But that comes with an extra charge, of course. Some would say,
of course, but if
some extra money for the office as well.
But if you're paying a guru boy, for instance, 800 Ghana cedis, can you imagine that? 800. No, John, listen, 800 for a business registration that costs 100. And I ask you to come to the VVIP, and you pay 400 for using that service, because it's not just free. We'll give you some refreshments and all that. You can relax yourself and pay that same 100 again. So you end up paying 500 for that kind of. Why would you go and give that money to a guru boy who would possibly, you know, give you a fake document as well? So it's the world. All the fingers are not equal. There are some who can afford it, and they should allow them to afford it. There are some who also don't want to pay for that kind of service. You will still get the service at the front office. So It's not a matter of,
Again, I'll bring in, and sorry, I'll bring in the DVLA experience about these Goro boys. Don't you think that it is the frustration with the system that has fueled the activities of these middle and Goro boys? Because if I know that a Joe Mansa knows that I can walk into your office, everything is correct, right documents and all the rest, and I can even get this and approved for me in a day, why would a Joe Mansa go and pay 2,000 to a Goro boy? The frustration with the system that is pushing people to these Goro boys.
I've already told that I admit that there are issues with the system. I didn't deny that fact. I've said it already, but I said that is why we are migrating it onto the G-Cloud environment, where that kind of frustration will be a thing of the past. So in that instance, when you come here, you're not going to have issues like the system has gone down or whatever. We'll at the same time offer the VVIP service for those who want it done expeditiously. There's nothing wrong with that. And anyway, in a year's time, you won't even have to walk into this office just to submit paper. That's what I'm saying. You can sit in the comfort of your home and do it online, get the certificate online, get the profiles online. No need to work here. The new system, you can select us coming to deliver your certificates to you through a Ghana Post. That's the kind of system we're going to offer you. You can also select which bank. Let's say you want to open a bank account after registration. You can select which bank you want that kind of bank account open. So the minute we finish registering, that data is transferred to the bank. I mean, we're going to expedite that ease of doing business by this new software.
And some will say that it could even be done within an hour if I'm not stretching this.
Yes.
Subject to you having all the right documents and everything.
Yes, and subject to you going through the artificial intelligence, business rules. For instance, you cannot register a name when you don't have that name. You can't use somebody's name. So the business rule in there will be, if you see somebody using somebody else's name, when none of the parties have that name, rejected. So those kind of applications will be bound to us to work on at the back end. But let's say you come up with a unique name, XYKZ, nobody has that name. The system has gone through it all. You really are unique. You get your certificate.
So the economists will say all other things being equal, holding all these variables constant. I can even get my business registered with my certificate within 2 or 3 hours with this software, holding all these things constant.
Yes. In Singapore, you can get your company registered in 30 minutes.
And is that possible? We should be looking forward to that.
If
in
only,
Ghana here, subject to meeting or from next year, first quarter.
Yes, if only you make sure that the business rules are properly captured. And that kind of 30 minutes one means is a very unique name. So there was no need for it to be bumped to the back office. Then you can get it.
Goro boys, I've seen them, some of them around. What is the office doing about it? Some will see that walking through here, and sorry for my choice of words, I see that as a nuisance. What are you doing to deal with these people who are feeding on the shortcomings in the system?
Unfortunately, it's our clients themselves who cause themselves this kind of headache. We have made it very clear, do not deal with them. Come into the front office yourself. At least pay the right fees yourself. Nobody is asking you to go hand over, huge sums of money to somebody who is out there, who would most probably use the very same people who are in the front office to carry out your transaction. Because it's not as though they would go and manufacture the registration. They will come back to the same front office. Yes, so I would still say that come into the front office and carry out your own registration. But it looks like they get frustrated, yes, because maybe there's a long queue. So it's better you give it over to somebody. But that person also queues at the end of the day. So I will still come back to the same that try and do things yourself. And going forward, I believe that when we have the system working better, it won't be that much of a long queue at the front office. I mean, things will be, expedited so that there will be no need for you to go through any Goro boy or middleman. That ease of business should happen at the front office for you to, use that service yourself without going through them. It still troubles me actually that you rely on them, a stranger.
Aren't you doing that?
Oh, we arrest them all the time.
Are you doing that? Are you leaving them to have a full day? Some
we arrest them all the time.
And they are still coming.
Yes. I think maybe it's
you're being tough. Say you're not being tough enough.
I wish you could come. We arrest them. We get the police sometimes coming to arrest them. We get our own security sometimes driving them. But somehow, I think is the economic situation. They will find their own level, and they'll be there. If you go outside, we've even put stones and rocks where they used to sit to write. They will still perch on those rocks and write. You find them in corners you shouldn't even find them, behind cars, on cars. But I will still come out and say that my clientele, do not go through that route, because you end up being ripped off. And money is very hard to come by these days. It costs just 100 Ghana cedis, 100, to register a business name. And yet you are prepared to give out 500, 600, 700. And when you ask, I say, I didn't even know that it was, because first of all, they won't even read. The fees and all, we put it on our front, on our billboard, it's there. They won't read.
Are you worried yourself, the fact that people are even prepared to pay X amount of money to get this in time?
It's not right. That's why I said
the
service.
Are you worried personally?
Of course. That is why I'm doing everything within my power to get the system sorted out, and at the same time offer that VVIP service to get the ease of doing business, at least to those who can afford it. If you can afford to give that kind of money, then you should be able to afford the VVIP easily. It's not that expensive comparatively.
Let's come to payment process as well. I mean, how are you also digitize the payment process to also help deal with the corruption issue and letting people appreciate that if I walk to this bank or if I use this short code and all the rest, I'm paying X amount of money.
Yes. For instance, for the renewal of the business names, we put it out there that you can renew *222# from your phone. And I can tell you, a lot of people have been using it. It's a major relief for us, because when we put out notices for people to renew their businesses before the end of June, in the past, you'd find a huge queue over here because they'll travel from all over the country just to come and renew their businesses. And that, at least, is working. People are using the *222# to renew their business names. And there's an increase in our revenue online. You are supposed to pay online through the Ghana.gov portal. You have to register with them, and it's easy to pay online. We can use Momo or Visa or MasterCard. It's very easy to use. When it comes to filing of annual returns and renewal of partnerships and renewal of professional bodies, that is where you need to come into the office. And also re-registration of the various businesses.
I'll be coming to that, because recently you've issued a circular reminding people to do all those.
Yes.
But is the Ghana.gov system working? Because I knew in the past it was seen as a major breakthrough to deal with some of these challenges. Is that software, that system working when it comes to?
It's working. It's working. It's working. If you have a business name, try it yourself. It's working. You do *222#. It will give you an option which of the numbers you want to select, and it will show RGD renewal. You select it. We'll have to change it to ORC. For now, it's showing RGD. Then it talks of renewal or whatever. You select that one. Then it will ask for your business number. Once you put your business registration number in, it will calculate the amount of fees you have to pay, renewal fees you have to pay. And then it will direct you to the Ghana.gov platform, because that is the online platform that we are linked to. But you must register with them. If you are not registered with them, that will be the problem. So it's a very simple process to register there as well. And then you pay. And electronically, our system will update you to be in good standing. It's working, actually. It's working.
This software issue that you spoke about earlier, and now you get I get the understanding that something is coming through because of the partnership with the World Bank. Hasn't it taken us quite a long time? Because some would say that this software issue and server had been coming up in the past.
Oh, no. You know, there was the same World Bank that assisted us to get what we currently have, the e-registrar. It's the same. And it's been 11, getting to 12 years since we used the software. There is nothing wrong with it, except that I said it's not user-friendly. We have had experience over the 12 years, and we know what to include in the next software to make it more user-friendly for our clients. You learn. I mean, our first stages from 2005, when we went online, we improved with the e-registrar, and we've learned a lot. And so all I'm saying is that each time you come up with a new development, you get better. Because initially we used to take 2 weeks to search on a name, George. 2 weeks.
How long does it take now?
Oh, a second. We used to take 2 weeks. We had huge registers. Automation and online has been able to at least reduce that time. You kept on talking of 30 minutes to register business. Those days, it used to take maybe, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get one company registered. This current software, if everything is okay, all the players, the users approve it, you can get it within 1 hour, seriously.
You talked about automation. I want to also look at the intelligence, artificial intelligence, in trying to ensure that we don't have Madam Oware and co all over when it comes to ensuring that the unique name is identified.
Yes.
And also, what is this thing about these annual returns and registration, and what will happen to a company that fails to do or honor that? This is PM Express Business Edition. We take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as you look at business registration in Ghana today and whether the process is being simplified or having her business registered within 5 minutes or 10 minutes and maybe in just a few months to come. That is what the Registrar General is working out, or the Office of the Registrar of Companies is looking at getting it done for you as a business out there. I was coming to this whole idea about business registration and the filing of annual returns and all the rest. And I asked myself, why do you have to go out all of a sudden reminding people that you have to do this?
Unfortunately, the law is very clear. It's a mandatory requirement. And for the first time, we're also going to implement one of the sections in the Act which states that if you do not file your annual returns when you are supposed to, you have an administrative penalty that amounts to, it's 25 penalty units to each day that the default continues, 300 Ghana cedis. And it's not only for the...
Some will say, I'll pay.
Listen, it's not only for the company, but for every officer. It's so punitive. So I can't watch, the companies just fall into that trap. So it's my responsibility to alert you, to warn you that the new regime of the ORC is different from the past. We are going to enforce the provisions and the, of the Act. And it's very clear. It says you shall, not even you may. And in the past, looking at the punitive nature of it, we tried to just bring a penalty of, say, 500 or 600 flat rate. But still people were not, taken as serious. If the GRA starts, if you're supposed to file your taxes at a particular date and you fail to file the taxes, every day that you fail to file that tax, there's a penalty and it's a daily thing. Unfortunately, ours is quite steep. 300 Ghana cedis for each day the default continues.
So for instance, if I'm supposed to, I failed to file the return maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 300 Ghana cedis every day.
It's too much.
Some will say they'll pay. They'll pay.
No, you're killing the company. So it's
300 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Well, yeah,
I'm just looking at a more punitive sanction that would force people.
Oh, this is a lot.
300 Ghana cedis a day.
Each day.
Yeah.
So the week is how much?
Yeah,
Calculate.
1,000
what?
Yeah.
It's too much. And the company's capital of it maybe just 500 Ghana cedis. It's a lot. It's a lot. So the whole idea is, it's not just the money as well. Actually, all we want, this whole idea is, when we talk of annual returns, all we want is for you to update us. That's all. Update us with information on your company. We go into the register just now. You have a company registered maybe even just 2011 when the new software came. They've never bothered to update us. Some of the directors are possibly dead, and you have their names in the register as being directors. They've even moved office. They are working from a completely new premises, and yet in here we have a wrong address. You understand me? The secretaries have changed. The shareholding, maybe the shareholder is dead. His children are now running the business. And then somebody comes to do due diligence on this company, and you give this wrong information out. And the person out there will rely on that wrong information to sign a contract with dead directors. What's the whole
Shouldn't we have a system where automatically it can be updated? Then how is this returns done? Do I have to walk in here, or I can remotely do that as well?
So that is where I'm saying the new software will not allow you to walk in. And currently, it's cumbersome. You have to walk in with these returns, paper, and scan it in. And that's why I said we want to stop that. People coming in with paper to scan it. Wherever they are, we're coming up with a new software, which is an XBRL type of system, where the fields for the auditors would be, will be created. When they're doing audits, they have certain fields that they would need to put figures in, yes. So we'll have a liaison with the ICAG to help us to develop those kind of fields that all auditors should be able to put the figures in. That helps us to also come up with statistical reports far easily than just scanning paper in. And then you PDF the financial report. That's it. So, and then the filing of an annual returns is not going to be like it is now. Wherever you are, you can update it yourself. You go into the system, you check directors, oh, this one is dead. It will move you to the page where you can bring in the new director. You pay for it electronically online. The system is updated. Afterwards, you just tick it. The new software should be such that if nothing has changed in the company, you just tick everything is the same. At our end, we are sure that everything is the same. But now you have to fill all those forms all over again. It's cumbersome. It's burdensome. And that is what we currently have. And I'm saying that we will change it within, the new software that we are currently
I know you've explained to me that it's quite expensive, but do you think that apart from the financial or the penalty, some other punitive measures should be introduced to challenge these persons to update their records to aid in your work that you do?
Oh, what will happen is your name will be taken off the register.
And what would that mean to me? I mean, I can come back and register or something?
Oh, you can't go signing contracts because people do due diligence on your company. It will be very embarrassing if a firm wants to sign a contract with you and they come and do due diligence to know the status of your company and you are off the register. You lose that contract. So don't even dream of it, that you like to be sitting in there, your condition is, or status is not in good standing, or even your name has been taken off as inactive.
I remember that the recent circular that you issued, there were lots of companies that you had mentioned that if by September or end of year they don't regularize their status, you're going to take all of them out of the register.
We've taken some off already, over 2,000 of them. We just did a sampling. There are far more, but we just did a sampling. We've taken over 2,000. The next batch is the churches, associations, CSOs, clubs, associations, also another 2,000, over 2,000. But since we started, making many of them have started, coming to update their records. Honestly, there is you see the crowd down there. People have taken the notices seriously and are renewing. Business names are also renewing, and which is good. That's all we want. We want an updated, credible, accessible register. Now, if after June 30th, you still haven't taken the opportunity to renew, and you are still, we will start the process of requesting to find out if you're still really in business. Possibly you are not, and then we'll take your name off.
So by June end, then, if these companies have not regularized,
we will start the
process.
The penalties first, and then take the steps of putting out a notice, finding out from you if you are still carrying on business. Because some really have stopped.
So
some have stopped.
So it's more of the September ending that if they don't do that, you take more than 2,000 companies,
yes,
right?
We'll do that. We'll do that. It's very important so that you really have a credible register, because we have a bloated register. Many of those businesses are not really doing anything. And so it's important that you update us. So the annual returns updates us of the current status of the directors, the shareholders, the capital, all those details. Then the financial statements will also give the financial standing of the company, whether it's doing well or it's not doing well. And so anybody who wants to do business with that kind of company should be able to access that kind of data, yes.
What is the office doing else? What else is the office doing to, again, with respect to under your functions, to ensure that the whole registration and keeping it in good standing is simplified and it's okay for businesses out there that, it's become more easier engaging you with the period?
The same thing I've been saying. For now, it's cumbersome. But going forward, it should be easial. But for now, I can't do anything about that because that is what the current system is like. You necessarily have to come with your annual forms. You necessarily have to come with your financial statements for us to scan it into the system. So I can't do much about that now.
From where you sit and not getting to any specific numbers, are we seeing more sole proprietorship registration or partnership? And not to get into any specific numbers, but on just a casual look at the numbers, are we seeing more sole proprietorship or partnership or multinationals? We hear investors coming and all the rest. What do you see on your books when you do a monthly scan of the numbers?
Of course, it's the business names that's the most registered. It's very simple to register and it's also less costly. It's just 100 Ghana cedis to register a business name. In the past, it was 60. Now it's 100. Very easy to register. And you don't need much. You just need a name. You need an address. You need a mobile number. You need a digital address. You need your NIA card. That's it. And you're good to go. And you get your certificates. But we have tried to carry on the ease of doing business through this current system by linking up our system to the Ghana Revenue Authority. That generates the unique TIN. And we're going to be, in this new system, we'll be linking up with the NIA, National Identification Authority, where we'll use the NIA as the unique identifier. We currently are linked up to Ghana Post for digital addresses, which helps us to locate the registered offices of businesses. And then we using the same digital address to give business operating permits to businesses. In the past, when we did the ease of doing business under the World Bank ease of doing business, that was a key feature we introduced so that at least for the first 3 months of your business operations, you would get this business operating permit temporary until the MMDAs will follow up and locate you wherever you are and give you the exact amount that you need to pay. So in that sense, that kind of collaboration and linking up of various ministries, department agencies to the software was done. The new one will even be bigger. We intend to link up GIPC, the Judicial Service, because you see currently with this new Companies Act, if you have a director who is found guilty of fraud or insolvency or anything, you have to blacklist that director.
And to make it more easier to blacklist these persons.
Yes. We'll link up with the charges registry in the Bank of Ghana, deeds and charges registry, yes, so that when people take charges or take loans or mortgages with assets of the company electronically, we'll also be able to get to know. I told you we'll link up to some of the banks, that is if they want it. So definitely it's going to be a system that would serve the purpose of providing access to data to ministries, departments, and agencies than we currently are doing. So I'm looking really forward to that new software, which will make it far, far more easier than we are currently operating to provide a service.
Let me come back to one interesting thing before you even migrated to this Office of Registrar of Companies. What is the status, when you were Registrar General, the status of the liquidation of these BlackRock and these savings and loans companies that the Security and Exchange Commission was working with you to finalize the liquidation so they can start paying? What is the status as we speak right now?
Okay, for one, that companies is still under the Office of the Registrar of Companies.
Oh, thank you for the education.
I was the official liquidator as the Registrar General.
Okay.
I am still the official liquidator.
Sorry, thank you.
Under the Registrar of Companies. And so that aspect, there's nothing wrong with that. With Black Shield, the only issue is it is still in court.
Why have it kept so long?
Yes, because the owners of Black Shield are fighting the official liquidator in court. They do not want to be liquidated. And the bailout package was such that we can only issue out that package to creditors or investors who invested in the fund management companies, if only we get the official liquidation order. And we still have not got the official liquidation order. Why haven't you got it? I mean, it's still in court. It's a back and forth. The court processes. We petitioned the court based on the directive from Securities and Exchange Commission that Black Shield was not able to pay its creditors as it fell due. And that is the stand up on which we went. And truly, up till now, they've not been able to pay all these investors who were, picketing at the Securities and Exchange Commission. And of course, the government wanted to ensure that the capital market was not, shaken. I was with you at that time. That's why they brought about the bailout package, scheme. So many of those fund management companies that I was able to, operate with, we had liquidation orders before I could call for the creditors meeting. I had all those meetings, and we had a whole plan in place of how they could get their monies. And I was able to pay tier 1 cash, and tier 2 is now with GCB Capital. So that aspect is gone. I just have Black Shield remaining because the courts have not been able to give the official liquidator the order to liquidate it.
So let me get some clarification. Have you been able to liquidate some of the other companies, right? And
of
then
course.
the necessary monies have been paid to them?
Yes.
So right now, the only challenge now is the Black Shield issue.
Because so when they go and picket at SEC, it's not really going to help. And even, the point is, I need the liquidation order to kickstart the bailout package to the various.
What can you do, or how can you get around the challenge? Some would say you are a lawyer of great repute. Why can't you get around the challenge? Looking at the struggles, those who've had their money still not being paid because of these legal juggles that are going on.
I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. And the law courts are the law courts. They have their own rules. They have their own procedures. They have their own timelines. And so as much as it lies within me, we are there. We are pursuing the case. And we're not getting the order because, of course, there are appeals and it goes on from maybe the High Court to the Court of Appeal, and it comes back. All those procedures are being carried out in court. I can't stop that one. I can't force the judge to give me the liquidation order. The judge has to play it fair because that means maybe the lawyers of Black Shield are making a strong case why they should not be liquidated. But the key thing is, if you make that kind of strong case, at the end of the day, you should be able to pay your creditors as the time falls, and they haven't been able to pay them.
The liquidator can also make a strong case to turn the judge's
We
money.
are making whatever effort we can, whatever arguments we can to get the liquidation order. It's only when we get the liquidation order that we can access those funds that government put in place as the bailout package. That is the reality. I can't do anything beyond that.
So if I'm someone who had my funds locked up in the Black Shield, it appears that even by end of this year.
And let's pray. Let's pray. The courts will be coming. There'll be a recess from July. Let's pray we get the order before the end of July. Then we can kickstart whatever payments needs to be paid to them. But we did pay across board. You know that everybody got 50,000. That's the most they've all gotten at that time because it was becoming very burdensome on them. And against all odds, even though there was no liquidation order, government did pay 50,000 to every creditor. Some were able to get out because their monies with Black Shield was less than 50,000. So they were able to get out. But those whose monies were more than 50,000 still need their monies.
So as you speak right now, there isn't any, apart from the Black Shield issue, there isn't any other fund management firm.
There's another one, Kron.
What about that one
Kron
too?
is also in court. So it's not just left two. Every other one has been sorted out.
And these companies have quite a significant number of customers, if I can use that word, on their books that they are looking forward. I mean, for you, having worked in this area again for quite a long time, what is your advice so that we can minimize some of these challenges in the future?
My advice is, going forward, we have a new act in place, the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act. Maybe some of these firms should not have been liquidated outright. maybe some of these firms could have had a change of management, like administration or restructuring, as this new act, brings on board. So you could have had a change of management, and maybe with that, they could have kept those companies still going. But with liquidation, it's fine now. It's really fine now. And it's burdensome to look for money to pay creditors, and at the same time, to keep the function of liquidation going. It's not cheap to keep us on to liquidate these companies. It's not cheap. Because as liquidators, liquidation is self-financing. I cannot liquidate a company with the funds of ORC. Every company has to have enough funds to liquidate itself. You understand me? So if we had kept them going through the maybe a new management or a restructuring person or an administrator, and take off the old ones because they were not running the companies well, I believe we might not have had to liquidate all 47. But as it is, it's happened because we didn't have the legislation at that time. This was a different era then, and that was the era for a very long time. That is why going forward, looking at the ease of doing business, insolvency became a key thing. And that's why Ghana had to come out with the corporate. Yeah, it was becoming a key thing in the World Bank ease of doing business. We needed to bring in a rescue culture for businesses, and so this new office is going to also oversee that as well. When we are liquidating you, that means it's really rock bottom. There is nothing that can be done for you, last resort. But at the very early stages, if you get an insolvency practitioner who will serve as a restructuring officer or an administrator, they can help to restructure the company's finances, to keep it going. And then at that stage, you don't need to liquidate them.
As we wrap up, Madam, on this discussion, and for you going, you talked about the World Bank ease of doing business, and are you fairly convinced that with all these reforms that are being introduced from first quarter next year, by next half of next year, Ghana will be at the top there in the global space when it comes to the ease of doing business, registration, customer relationship, and dealing with all these solvency issues?
By the grace of God, I trust in Him. And as long as we do our bit and He also favors us, we will get to that level that you are talking about, where, business registration, getting within a day will be a thing of the past. It will be the norm. Because, mind you, the vision of this new office is to be a world-class business registry. That is our strategy, world-class business registry.
And are we on course?
Of course. I said we are starting. First of all, we are migrating the current one. We're going to come up with a new software. We'll involve our stakeholders. That's the key thing. In the first software, we didn't involve our stakeholders enough. So with this new one, we involve our stakeholders to ensure that we come out with an output that, satisfies their needs. It's easy for them. That's why I say it's not user-friendly. It is there, but it's not user-friendly, yes.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
To be among the top in the world.
Yes, we are going to be a world-class business registry. Mark, with the grace of God and the help of God.
First, I want to get from you that, do you think that with all these reforms that is being undertaken, by the next half of 2024, Ghana will be there among the countries or the top countries where business registration can be done within 30 minutes or even 20 or even 10 minutes?
I have great hope that this shall happen. Of course, we will do our bit, but of course, God also is necessary. The God factor is very important. That He will favor this new office to be able to deliver this kind of service that we've been talking about, to be able to come out with business registration within 30 minutes or 1 hour, and all the changes we've been talking about. I have great hope because the new strategy or the new mandate of this office, our vision is to be a world-class business registry. So once we have that as our motto and as our vision, we have to live up to that expectation by delivering within the timelines you are talking of.
I also get some understanding about this publication of businesses and all the rest, and it being done differently. What is being done differently now going forward is in terms of bulletin release and all the rest, per your new act as well?
Yeah, per the new act, by section 370 of the new act, this new office must have a company's bulletin. in which we'll be publishing all the various notices that we need to give out to the general public as well as our clientele. In the past, we used to publish all these notices, such as, for instance, if a company is going to be stricken off the register, or a company goes out there, you want to change the name, the whole world should know that your name has changed. It's notice to the public. That's what a bulletin does. This new act mandates us to have this company's bulletin to put in all those kind of notices. And there's quite a lot of notices in the act that we have to put in this bulletin. It must be in hard form and in an electronic format. I'm glad to say that we have come out with our first company's bulletin.
Okay.
And so the general public should know that no more will you be going to the Ghana Publishing to publish notices on changes in your company. The company's bulletin will do that. We will be able to put it on our website,
Okay.
www.orc.gov.gh, for a little fee. You can download that, or the hard copy can be purchased from the on-site bank. So we are just letting you know it's an important step for us, because for all these years we have to send our clients all the way to Ghana Publishing to do things that have nothing to do with companies. But now we have our own bulletin. It takes care of everything for us.
I'm seeing something which I don't know whether it's a new requirement for the listed companies, for instance, the public listed entity PLC, and they're all even trying to change their advertising that they do with us in terms of the LPMs and all the rest to insist that you add the PLC. Why are you asking a company that is on the Ghana Stock Exchange now to add the PLC to its name?
Under Section 21 of the Companies Act, 2019 Act 992, all companies are supposed to have suffixes, all these kind of suffixes at the end of their names, and it's the different types. It's supposed to help to identify the type of company that you are registered with. In the past, you had companies that were public companies, having limited at the end of their name, being LIMITED. And you wouldn't know that this was a public company. They were listed on the stock exchange and they had limited. But going forward, best practice, if you go to any developed country, once you see PLC, you know this is a publicly listed company. So the framers of the new act, that the Committee of Experts, thought it wise that if you have a private limited liability company now, even if you had limited ending your name, that is LIMITED, you change it to LTD or limited company. So now company ends it instead of limited. So all companies that you have LIMITED, if I still see that on your letterhead, it means you haven't complied. It means you haven't filed your annual
go after
returns.
that company.
Oh yes, because you haven't complied. Not only that, you see limited, LTD or limited company. I see that's a private company. I see public limited company or PLC. I know that's a publicly listed company. I see LBG. Then I see that's a limited by guarantee company. So churches should have LBG at the end of their names or limited by guarantee in full. Many are choosing limited by guarantee.
Yeah, because of several reasons as well. But are those
they don't want LBG at the end of their names.
Professional bodies also complying? Has been another
professional
difficult.
bodies.
And in terms of these churches and social groups, are they complying with all these things?
Yes, they are. Professional bodies, there's no legislation that they should change.
But the churches are doing as well.
The churches are, they are changing it either to LBG or limited by guarantee. Then you have public and limited liability companies. And unlimited liability companies are companies that's liabilities unlimited.
Okay.
And there's a public company. So then you see PUC, that is PUC, Public Unlimited Company.
Finally, on a lighter side, and I remember when you were you were with the Registrar General's department, you were telling us about marriages and registration. And if my marriage is not registered here, it's not recognized, or it can be recognized.
Oh, you said if your marriage is not registered. No, your marriage will be registered, but you have to comply with the strict requirements under the special license. That's what we. That's what I said. Being that under the ordinance, the churches had to be licensed to be able to officiate marriages. The ministers of religion had to be licensed and gazetted as marriage officers. And then the parties needed one of the licenses, either a marriages office certificate, a special license, or a registrar certificate. Now, what was happening was many people were carrying out weddings in unlicensed premises.
Oh, okay. And that's what the problem
That was
is.
what the problem was. So it's a
Okay.
whole wedding, I mean, so expensive, and yet the premises was not licensed. The minister was not gazetted, and yet you call, and once that happens, that marriage is void.
And it has a legal
So I want to find out whether you just...
I'll tell you on that one. It has been PM Express Business Edition as we draw the curtain. And another debate will go on in your homes and offices about simplifying the process to carry out your business within a day. Well, my name is George Wiafe, and have a great day. It has been PM Express, brought to you by Charity Properties, our new sponsors on board. Have a great day.